The night was heavy with silence, broken only by the faint hum of city lights flickering against the dark. Washington, D.C. slept uneasily, its marble buildings standing like monuments to both power and hypocrisy. And yet, within that silence, a rebellion was stirring. Not a rebellion of guns and fire, but one of words, courage, and truth. This was the story of two men, Anthony Scaramucci and Joshua Green, each scarred in their own way by the brutal machine of politics, but unwilling to bow to it. Anthony Scaramucci, known to many simply as the Mooch, had already lived through the firestorm. He had been inside the West Wing, had felt the suffocating heat of betrayal, ambition, and raw chaos. For 10 days, 10 unforgettable days, he was at the heart of the most unpredictable White House in modern history. Most would have walked away bitter, broken, and silent. But Anthony was not built that way. He believed rebellion wasn't about fighting the system with anger, but exposing its rot with candor. Joshua Green, on the other hand, carried a different kind of rebellion. As a journalist, he had spent years unearthing the shadows behind political smiles, the whispered deals, the cynical strategies that define modern campaigns. He wasn't a politician. He wasn't bound by loyalty to power. His rebellion came through storytelling, the kind that forced Americans to see what they didn't want to admit about the leaders they trusted. For Joshua, truth was his weapon, and he wielded it fearlessly. Their paths crossed in the middle of America's political storm. The year was marked by division, by anger boiling across kitchen tables, by people losing faith not just in leaders, but in the very idea of government itself. The country was fractured, and in that fracture, opportunists thrived. But rebels, real rebels, rose too. Anthony and Joshua met not as friends, not even as allies, but as skeptics of each other. One was the insider who had tasted power. The other was the outsider determined to expose it. At first glance, they couldn't have been more different. Yet both recognized something rare in each other, neither was afraid of being hated for telling the truth. Their conversations were raw. They spoke about betrayal, about loyalty, about the strange hunger that drove people into politics only to watch it consume them whole. Anthony admitted the pain of watching friends turn into enemies overnight, of realizing that politics wasn't about serving the people but about serving egos. Joshua shared stories of how candidates sold visions they never intended to deliver, how entire campaigns were fueled by manipulation rather than leadership. What united them wasn't ideology, it was rebellion against the disease that infected politics. They weren't fighting Republicans or Democrats. They were fighting the decay of honesty, the erosion of decency, the quiet acceptance of corruption is just the way things are. But being a rebel in politics comes at a price. For Anthony,